Welcome to the Protagonist Pub. My name is Timmy. And this is where characters gather. So, today we're going to talk about my anticipated 5-star reads for the second quarter of 2023. And overwhelmingly, they're all pretty thick reads, but we shall see. So first up, this one has been underway since the beginning of the year. I'm enjoying it. I just haven't had a chance to continue. It is Janie Wirt, The Curse of the Mistwraith. This is the first book in the Wars of Light and Shadow. I am 200 pages in, and it's like, I want to say 800 pages. Just shy. 797 pages. This does not read quickly. This is fantasy. It is a methodical read. That is not a bad thing. This is high fantasy. It is character driven so far, but it is a densely written prose style that conveys a lot in a sentence, and it is not something I can pick up and read when I'm distracted, there's work going on in the house, dogs are anxious. It's one where I don't generally require quiet to read, but when I'm reading that particular one, quiet is required. Next up was in my, I think it was in my most recent February library book haul. That is Sun by Philip Meyer. This is a Western. It has been on my radar for a very, very long time. It is 600 pages or so. I'm hoping, it looks like it's told from multiple viewpoints and multiple timelines. Yep. I really, really, really hope that this book is a 5-star read for me. I've wanted to read that for a very long time. Next up, the chances of this not being a 5-star read for me are so slim, it's funny. It is one of those books my neighbor lent me. It is Philip Gregory's 3 Sisters, 3 Queens. I don't think there has ever been a Philip Gregory book I have picked up that I haven't loved. I am anticipating no less than 5 stars for this. She writes beautiful historical fiction. So that will be an easy. This next book was in my March book haul. March book haul part 1. I will link it down below. It is Labyrinth by Catherine Coulter. This is contemporary romance. Thriller romance at that. This is not of the clean variety. I will undoubtedly skip the scenes that are more explicit than I think needs to be in a book. But I've always enjoyed her writing style. I've enjoyed her characters and her pacing, so I'm willing to overlook the sexual content. Next up is Kings of the Wild by Nicholas Eames. This was on my personal 2023 reading challenge to read a book I bought last year, I believe was the prompt. This is fantasy. It is the first book in a series. I have heard you either love it or you hate it. So hopefully I love it. I'll read you a little bit. I'll read you the black blurb. It's very small. Glory never gets old. Clay Cooper and his band were once the best of the best, the most feared and renowned crew of mercenaries this side of Heartwild. Their glory days long past, the mercs have grown apart and grown old. Fat, drunk, or a combination of the three. Then an ex-bandmate turns up at Clay's door with a plea for help. The kind of mission that only the very brave or the very stupid would sign up for. It's time to get the band back together again. I just think it sounds fun. And fun is missing from fantasy a lot of the time, and I don't understand why that is. So, we'll see. Next up is Tried and True. There is no doubt this will be a 5-star for me. It is on my personal challenge to read a book set in spring. That is The Cinnamon Roll Murder by Joanne Fluke. I have never not loved a Hannah Swenson mystery. So if I didn't love this, it would be a first. And it would get its own video. So I can't fathom not loving this book. Next up would be another check off on my list. It would be for a police procedural. And that would be The Darkest Evening by Anne Cleves. This is a Vera Stanhope novel, and this one was published in 2020. And I love the Vera television series on BritBox. I love the writing. I love the atmosphere. I love the pacing. I love Vera as a character. So this shouldn't be a surprise for me. And last but not least on this list is the chunkiest of them all. This is also in fulfillment of a challenge on my personal reading challenge for 2023. And that is to read a book set in the ancient world. And it is by a tried and true author for me, Margaret George. And that is the Memoirs of Cleopatra. So I will read you the back. Best-selling novelist Margaret George brings to life the glittering kingdom of Cleopatra, Queen of the Nile, in this lush, sweeping, and richly detailed saga. Told in Cleopatra's own voice, this is a mesmerizing tale of ambition, passion, and betrayal, which begins when the 20-year-old queen seeks out the most powerful man in the world, Julius Caesar, and does not end until having survived the assassination of Caesar and the defeat of the second man she loves, Mark Antony. She plots her own death rather than be paraded in triumph through the streets of Rome. Most of all, in its richness and authenticity, it is an irresistible story that reveals why Margaret George's work has been widely acclaimed as the best historical novel, one where the reader can't wait to get lost in. I have never read a Margaret George book that failed me. I haven't. I have read one Margaret George book that I did not enjoy, but it wasn't the book. It was me at the time, and I will try that one again. I just think I was not in the mood for, it was the Helen of Troy book. I was not in the mood for the book at the time. Nothing about that was working for me. And nothing I was reading at the time was working for me. So it wasn't the book. It wasn't the author. It was Tammy the reader in a reading slump. So that is my anticipated 5-star reads for the second quarter of 2022. They're all chunky. None of them are currently on my Spring into Christian Fiction list. I don't think any of these work for any of the upcoming readathons that are going on in May, which I may or may not participate in. So we will see. I want to read all of these. I'm not upset any of them are on my list. I will let you know. What are your anticipated 5-star reads for the second quarter of 2022? Please leave a comment down below, like and subscribe, and I will see you here next time at the Protagonist Pub.